Notes for section 9.3, tests about a population mean. Of course, to do the test, we first have to show the conditions are met. So I'll just write first show R and I. Okay, and then if the population standard deviation is known, which isn't typical, but I just don't want you to forget that it's possible. If the population standard deviation known, then we would still do a z-test known. Then your test statistic would be statistic. You would use z, and you would say z is the sample mean minus whatever you stated in your null hypothesis, whatever mean you said in your null hypothesis. So let me just label that. This is the mean stated in H naught. That's why it's mu naught. Divided by the population standard deviation, because you know it, over the square root of the sample size. So that's if the population standard deviation is known. But otherwise, more typically, we don't know. Then we do our test statistic is t, and we use a t distribution. So otherwise, t is sample mean x bar minus mu sub naught over, and we just use the sample standard deviation because that we can compute. So s sub x, sample standard deviation, s sub x over the square root of n. So those are the notes for this section. That's all you need. And then one other thing with means, sometimes you'll do you'll see a paired data, and we're going to do an example in a minute. So it's a different kind of test, but it's not any harder. If the data is paired, which means you made two observations about each individual, and you're like, if you want to find if something is greater, you would subtract, and the difference you want to be positive. So if you have a paired data, you just take the difference in each pair, and your calculator will do that, by the way, in the two lists. If paired data, take the difference, and then it's called it's still a one sample t procedure. Just take the difference and use that for your data. You would still do a one sample t procedure, same as before. So that's just like a little footnote, and we're gonna do an example of that in just a second.